Hey, Jen Jen, how are you this morning? Hey, Tanya, how you doing? Hanging in there. Hey, Paula, how you doing, love? Just hanging in there. About all. I didn't know if anybody'd be up this morning or not. Hmm. I'm hanging. That's about it. That's it. You got a different internet? Good deal. Is it fast? Um, hey, Patricia. Hmm. Pretty neat. Um, I've been kind of wondering about something. I don't know if it is or if it ain't, but I'm thinking, oh, I'm in here. um, them, yeah, them girls that were found, um, three little old girls. They had, huh? I said, I'm sorry about the noise. No, walked straight to the room and said, "Na na na na." I, uh, I heard that they were smothered to death by putting a bag over their head. Um, their their hands were bound with zip ties. Yeah, and not too far from where they're at, you know, all this went down, and I've been kind of wondering if they couldn't have been influenced into this just for pretty much the money part and not to have to tolerate them anymore. But I remember in that in them notes, it said it a few times. My hands. Uh, what did you do with my notes that I had right here? Drawer. Drawer. This one? Colorful drawer. Huh? Colorful drawer. Which one? The one that has. The one that has what? Orange. This one? Yeah. them there, that way it's easier for you. This is somebody else's down by river. The mom hated Jack. Is she high? Yeah, Daniel. Burnt just a little bit. They did. I could. Jack. Yep. Darwood. Pink coat. Naked. Dirty. He dug Gov up. And then driveway. And then says a mile and a half in. It mentions the woods. It smelled. He was always angry. Mom was always angry. Both did it. He's a maniac. Rural area. Pillow. They sat and agreed on what to do. Hit on the head. Mom didn't want to see us anymore. I figured he would end up doing us this way. They were bad to Jack. They both did it. Where does it say? At Deep Point. Because angry, beat to death. They will find them both 1 to 2 inches in. Yeah, inside of something. Their hey, mom, fella. Yep, their friend. That's him. That's right. Did kill them in pillow. Now, asphyxiation was what got them girls. Hey, Carol. Hey, Joni. Hey, guys. I don't know if maybe there's a connection here. I don't know. Said when found, probably be buried naked. And then I heard Rose said they nearly found them. I need Jack in my road. And there is a spot here somewhere. Above me, yeah, family, as him both were. I have been. Jack led us down station. It was bad at home. Yep, Cody, cousin, Ming. I was touched with his finger. On a grandma party, she said. Mom didn't want either of us. Jack's teeth, shirt around him. Yeah, broken neck. Can't swim. Yes, they got their wish. We're not here anymore. My hands. In bathroom. Again, broke neck. Help me. Black vehicle. Pink coat. Wet pants. Jack Grandma, Durwood, Daniel, yes, cousin, bathroom, beat together, hands tied, used a flashlight, uh, hurt on head. Mom is evil. They know it was me. Got hit by mom. A lot of blood. Cut. A little bit of cereal. They're in there. Got whipped. They didn't deserve me. That morning, could not talk. I'm pretty sure they were sore to try to talk. That morning, there would choke them and bruises. Yeah, would slap, hit them. That used hand. Yep, yeah. It's a crying shame. And then his mom, why? Because he was allowed to. They wouldn't say nothing to him for doing it. They was mean to him, so why couldn't anybody else? But I am wondering if one of them is not following the leader, kind of deal. Um, yeah, he put a bag over their head and smothered them to death. Um, yeah, he killed them. Now there may be nothing but that is similar, but Jack and Lily both talked about hands being tied. Well, why would they? Well, they may have just tied their hands while they was in the house or carried them where they went. Because if they know they was going to do the other, it wouldn't have done no good to put no zip tie on them. Again, last night, come in, said, where does it say all this stuff? Yeah. Uh, where do we find it? Maybe, just maybe, if you was a JSV fan, you could sit right here with the rest of us and hear everything. So it's not as much as what people are saying. They're trying to also make out the children a liar. And they make that out to be a liar because they use me trying to find out where I'm getting this information. Where does it say this? Where does it say that? Well, I'm not like any other YouTuber. I'm not on here to guess and wonder and all that mess. Write up junk that just ain't true. It's all right. Uh, Not everything that I get comes from an update from YouTube. 90% of what I get is from the children and past loved ones. And there are so many people out there that's jealous that I can get that much info that quick, and they can't. That's not my fault. I was just born that way. But people trying to come on here and to say that Jack and Lily is alive and this and that and another. I've been asking this whole time, prove it. Show me a clip, a dated clip of them playing and having a good time, maybe eating some breakfast or something. Show me. I've had to do me some thinking because I've been quite pissed off the last couple of days. I ain't gonna lie about it. But I don't have to prove myself to nobody anymore. I have been doing this for so long. I believe I can tell the difference between life and death. And for when people come on here and start saying, "Well, where does it say that?" You know, some things I say is because that's what we're reading, and then what we do is turn the spirit box on and see if they can say the same thing, or if they knock that out of the park and be like, "That didn't happen." But we hear from the source, even though we listen to what somebody might be saying. Well, these kids or a past loved one can tell a different story. And then we know it's just a bunch of junk. Hey, show me they're alive, okay? And you won't hear another word of Jack and Lily come out my mouth. But I also bet you can't do it neither. I picked up on Summer about 2 weeks before I even realized who it was. I had a woman call me from Canada. Want to know if I wanted to take on that. She started explaining a little bit to me, and I said, "Yeah, I'll take it on." Well, you know, well, what I got ticked about was, you know, I'm on here for us as as family, and even though that I sit here and try to work with the deceased and whatnot. You all get to see that in real time. It's not a made up video. It's in real time. But then you got somebody come in here to slander and say that things like Daniel's not been arrested and Durwood's not been arrested. Well, that woman who it was the other day said, YouTube lies, social media lies. Of course they do. Of course they do. But she slipped over the part where we all said, we hope so. I watched that back. And I said, if they are, I said, then they're going in the right direction. A lot of cities, states, whatnot, will not put anything out to the public until the person has been processed and in a cell. And they may have started with Daniel and Darwood. There's nothing new for the past 9 to 11 days. Nothing new. Even these thumbnails are throwing up. They're old. They're not new. There's no there's no sightings of them. There's no yeah. Um, there's just been no nothing. There ain't been no new updates. And what has been brought up ain't nothing but old crap. Well, I wonder why. And that's why I said if people would leave well enough alone and let these authorities do what they're supposed to be doing, this thing would soon come to a head. But for somebody to come on here and tell me that I shouldn't be saying these children are deceased, you've just never been here at JSV. That's the problem. Yeah. It's not all about the internet. Maybe 20% is, and we get the rest from them or from loved ones. But people have not taken the time to come over and check us out and figure out where we're getting what we're saying. We're not getting what we say from a cover off of a update. We'll say how stupid it sounds, but our truth comes from them children. Any child. Yeah, I heard somebody come in the other day that that woman, whoever it is, said the same thing I said a few days after I got through saying it. Uh, Judge a book by its cover, okay? Because you don't know what that person's capable of. Now, if you're doing something bad to these kids or any kid on this earth, I'm gonna throw you under the bus. And I wouldn't care if you was under dirt in my book. You just don't mistreat children. Well, I pray that each one of my mods and anybody want to step up to be a mod, you're right, Paula. I was very, very angry. But, when somebody comes in and makes these assumptions like this and saying things like, why are we saying that the children are deceased and stuff like that? We shouldn't be telling people that. Well, they can kiss my ass because it ain't me saying it, it ain't y'all saying it, it's the children. I've said this a million times. All they got to do is shut their mouth and open their ears. But they all want to turn a deaf ear. They don't want to take from what I've said. Well, I can't say that. A few try to use what I get. But, you know, it's not. When, when I'm trying to help find a missing teen or child or an adult, and when I stick with it like this, there's a reason. And when somebody comes in and trying to say, and both times has been from Nova Scotia, ain't a coincidence. Well, see, that's the thing, Beck. I believe that Jack and Lily have been found, but I believe that probably some of the remains have not yet been found. And they're probably trying to piece it all together. And while doing so, when I said, well, I guarantee Daniel's probably in the jailhouse, and then somebody threw up and said, well, Darwood's in there too. Then that person come on from Nova Scotia and said, neither one's in jail. And when I say, show me some footage that they're not. Show me some footage, you know, that they're at home doing their thing or whatever. That person took down everything that they typed in here, ever, you know. I believe that they are just waiting for everybody to try to get their story straight, and in the meantime, trying to find everything to put it back together with. Because it would kind of suck if you try to give them a proper burial, and then a day or two later, or a week later, a month later, you find another part somewhere. You know, it would just suck. Um, yeah, I couldn't sit here anymore. I mean, they were like that from dealing with Ava, and I know who they were. But I'm just not wanting to stoop as low as they are. They will. That's why I'd like for you guys to watch for trolls and whatnot. Just like that one come in here the other day, and I told her straight up. I said, if you're here to just go back to that he she thing or she he she whatever, and go back and tell what I'm finding out, you can go ahead and get out of here because this is not a place for you. You either be here, be a loyal fam, or just go your merry way. There's a lot of other nut jobs you can listen to.
Sorry, I was laughing at the fact that you called other people nut jobs.
Well, I mean, just like Paul right here said, when they come in, it broke the whole vibe. I mean, well, it you would. All right. Um, Send me your email uh, through Messenger. Yeah, welcome. Where's my pens? Oh. That pen don't write. That pen don't write. These are the new pens that we bought.
If they're new, you might want to check the tip for that bubble.
Is this whole thing? Is this whole thing your? So it's not like a at Gmail or anything. It's like so like clinic. Nothing capital. Okay. Is it all together or is it separate? Okay. It's saying enter a valid email. Are you sure there's nothing that is capital? Like I put it in. I put .org in it, and it says enter a valid email. All right, see if you can put this email in for me.
Oh, God. See what? Dirty.
See if you can put her email in for me. Right here, right here, to that, to that. Huh?
Oh, trying to make her mom.
Yeah. She'll figure it out. Yeah, we got to stop these trolls coming in here. You know, when we start back on summer and stuff like that, somebody was to start this crap. Who's going to sit aside of me? They don't want to. I'm telling you.
You know, I could do it faster this way. Yeah. There is such thing as a copy and paste button, you know that?
A what?
So there is such thing as copy and paste button.
Rub it in.
I'm not rubbing it in. I'm just saying that there's a button, copy and paste. That's what I do with emails.
Oh.
It's
now,
easier and faster that way.
When I send this, you have to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it saying that right there? Verify it's me.
Oh, probably because they want you to verify that it's you that's actually making her a mod. Maybe. You know, there's 22 people on the schedule now.
Really?
Yeah. With all the managers and everybody else she's hired, there's 22 people. You know that colorblind people?
What?
The colorblind one.
Yeah.
People.
Already?
Yeah. And the way you did it was funny.
Ours says pending. So as soon as you get it, you click on it, accept it, and it'll throw you a little wrench up there. Well, it was just the way they did it. I mean, I was born, but it wasn't yesterday. I know YouTube lies. That's why I don't believe nothing I hear, and only half of what I see. But what they're taking is from YouTube. They're not understanding that what 90% I get is spiritual, not through some internet junk. Um, I want them hid from the channel, wiped out completely. Any negativity, any. Did you get it yet, Paula?
Oh, that's Paul's. Polly wants cracker. This seriously only 8.
Mm-hmm. You accepted? Should be giving you a little wrench. Hmm? What'd you say? What? Oh, the work.
This is the only day I'll record holiday.
Why is her saying viewer instead of editor?
Let me see it.
Hold on a minute. Okay, now. All right, now see if it comes through. You may have to hit it again. It, you may have to hit it again or accept it again. Cause I got it down here. Well, ago it was saying viewer, now it's saying editor. I had to go over a page and hit it. Let's try to type something else. Just say hey or something. It should pop up on your end right beside your name there. Huh. Why ain't hers putting up a... Well, it shouldn't. Oh, it did? Well, she said it may take a minute or two then. And the ones that's got the little crowns like this right here, it says at the top of the page over here, it says top founds. I've done it every which way. Um, you know how I said uh, the what was it? Oh, you know how people are putting down hashtag shocking, something or other, and you know that's what everybody's been doing here lately for some reason, and I did that too. Um, Shocking news, and then I was talking about Dirt Nuts, being arrested. And last night it hit 240 views. And let's see, now there's one about on mother when I said voices uh, from from the grave, speaks from the grave or whatever. Um, where is that? Oh, it's got 580 views on it. So, and Christina's video down here has got 1,300 and some view. sense on it. Uh, but yeah, yours should be popping up because it accepted it. It turns green when it accepts it. Because if not, it'd do like it did for me. Uh, uh, Go right back to saying put in a regular email. What did you say you did to it?
Huh?
What did you say you did?
Copy it and paste it. That just makes it a whole lot easier for it that you can get an email there.
Well, do you think that might be why she's not got the thing yet?
No. Nope, because I did the same thing to mine and to, what's her name's? Lisa Ann's.
Oh.
So, no, that should not affect it.
Well, maybe to start here directly. Do you think I should put it on viewer or editor?
Editor. Too many times it's probably going to mess it up.
I ain't doing nothing but checking it. Let's see. Lens editor, editor, and me. I own it. Well, it may. Well, it should pop up here directly. Um, and thank you, yeah, for doing that.
To the missing children approach. Melissa Scott's trail cameras might contain clues about the disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan. RCMP asked her for days of footage as the investigation into the missing children approaches the 3-week mark.
Lady.
it's scary, especially not knowing what happens. We definitely keep our kids a little closer to home now.
Investigators immediately sought to verify no flight records, no bus tickets, no hotel check-ins under his name, or any of his aliases. And when they pulled surveillance from service stations along the supposed route, Getty's vehicle was nowhere to be found. The pieces weren't just missing, they were deliberately rearranged. RCMP.
Now, talking about numbnuts. Lydia Drew Plezis. Welcome.
Investigators now believe Getty's created a digital smokescreen, backdated posts, VPN masking, and the eerie fact that he deleted his Google location history for that entire week. What was he doing there? Why lie? And why erase everything? That 47-minute gap, just after midnight, now stands as one of the most critical windows in the entire investigation.
Well, see, her boyfriend was there, Numbnuts was there, and the kids admitted it. They said that he would smack them around, just be mean to them. They said that, they were scared just by a loud toned voice. So they've had to have a lot of punishment going on to, just to freeze up like that. There's no telling what all these kids have endured. Yeah.
Here's where it gets surreal. At exactly 12:38 a.m., mere minutes after GPS logs placed Darren Geddes on private land near the Sullivan cottage, a call was placed from his personal cell. The recipient? A former RCMP encryption consultant, not just a random tech expert, but someone who had spent years training law enforcement on how to hide digital footprints, destroy metadata, and erase surveillance signatures without a trace. The call lasted precisely 7 minutes. There was no voicemail, no recorded transcript, no follow-up text. But what really shook investigators? Geddes denied ever knowing the man, except the data told a different story. Telecom logs revealed at least.
So now, Numbnuts don't even know Daniel. Learn something new every day, don't we? Oh, but wait, they'll come back and say that I said this. Next person comes in here negative, we'll deal with Ava. So help me God. I'm fed up with it.
5 more calls between Geddes and the ex-consultant, 3 of them initiated by Geddes. One placed from a burner phone later recovered from his garage, and another routed through a satellite relay outside the town of Truro. RCMP analysts confirmed the relay was only accessible by specialized hardware, typically used by private contractors and military-grade security firms. That changed everything. Geddes wasn't just some loudmouth internet sleuth playing detective. He was calculated, deliberate, and dangerously informed.
Yeah, y'all try to make sure you watch for them and just hide them from the channel so they can't even get back on. The kids was found right there around that's right. So what is that? they call that? Uh, Lansdowne Station, somewhere or another, right around in there, up on some trailways, close to an old bridge or something, up in there. Uh, I've never zoomed in with uh, Google Earth or anything to see that spot. I just put in their road and went that way with Google Earth. Uh, so I could face in front of the trailer. Um, but it just goes streets, you know. Um, Seems to me like one or two things. Yeah. Either he's in custody or he can be like Jack and Lily, just drop off the face of the earth as they want to claim it. If Daniel got a hold of him, Daniel probably killed him. And he's probably buried somewhere. Because right after he did that talking and everything, Daniel went off. That's when he started telling some junk, even on Malaya. Mm-hmm.
Usual behavior, once brushed off as eccentric, now pointed to a level of premeditation that RCMP can no longer ignore. When forensic analysts gained access to his laptop, they discovered a string of highly sophisticated applications: file masking tools, drive cloakers, metadata scrubbers, all of them installed within the same 2-day window as the initial call. Hidden within the system were fragments of files, encrypted and renamed in hexadecimal strings, suggesting external file transfers, possibly related to video and GPS logs. Even more concerning, a secure, unlisted VPN tunnel had been established between Getty's machine and an IP block registered in Switzerland, home to multiple darknet file hosting nodes. The VPN connection lasted exactly 19 minutes, then cut off. That connection occurred just hours after RCMP released their first appeal to the public for tips in the Sullivan case. What was he trying to send? What was he hiding? From that moment on, the case against Getty's escalated. RCMP formed a multi-jurisdictional task force, quietly pulling in cybercrime and
So, what their nuts was doing and Daniel was doing was using different numbers and things like that to call in for tips to get them off track. Uh, that's all that's about. Uh, and they did. I mean, they went everywhere. Um, but instead of coming here to my show telling me I shouldn't say this or I shouldn't say that, no, it don't work like that. What I say is only being repeated of what these children say. And of course, we listen to, sometimes stupid junk like this. But why would their nuts delete everything and try to get it off the cloud and everything else, just so they could clear up his phone, his laptop, Daniel's phone, his laptop, just a couple days before all this went down. Yeah. Well, I'd still have to say that authorities have a way to work around that, because if just a normal person, if you delete something, they can go take your phone into a room and plug it up to a box, and it will show everything you've deleted. But apparently, he knew somebody that knew somebody. um, I just can't stand it when someone comes in here and tries to lie about these children. Sure, everybody would rather have it that the children are alive, but being alive, being with this bunch, which would be better? You can plainly see and hear how much happier Lily sounds right off the top. And saying, now I'm free. That wasn't just a coincidence that we heard that. She said it because she meant it. Mm-hmm. So, I believe with them giving this type information out about them nuts, I believe before they could do that, by law, they would have to have him in custody and proof of what he did. So whoever that was yesterday, whenever it was, said that their nuts has been arrested, then apparently that was correct. But they want to come on here and say neither one's been locked up. Well, if you ain't locked up and you so smart, show me footage that he's not locked up with a timestamp on it. You know what I mean?
Analysts from Ottawa and British Columbia. Internal memos, now partially leaked, confirm that Geddes was no longer viewed as a person of interest, but as a potential perpetrator involved in obstruction, evidence, tampering, and possibly more. And yet, through it all, Geddes maintained his YouTube live streams, still ranting, still spinning theories, still pretending to be just another voice in the crowd. But now the question wasn't, what does Geddes know? It became, what did he do while everyone else was still looking the other way? Geddes had been interacting online with a woman close to the Sullivan family weeks before the children vanished, asking about routines, school hours, favorite spots. At the time, it seemed odd but harmless. The woman, a distant cousin of the children's mother, initially thought he was just another overly invested true crime follower. He had framed his questions as research for a podcast episode on missing children in rural areas. His tone? Casual, empathetic, even helpful. But now, Through digital forensics and subpoenaed chat logs, investigators have uncovered something far more disturbing. Geddes wasn't just asking questions, he was logging them. Screenshots from his device show neatly organized folders, one labeled Routine Maps, another titled Daily Patterns, L&J, time-stamped and color-coded by location. Messages he sent the woman included oddly specific questions.
Yeah. So it would be numbnuts and that woman across the way that had them just so happened to have no footage a couple days prior to what happened. But now, a week prior to that, she had footage up. But just somehow or another, the cards got taken out. She just don't know where they went. What she did show proof of didn't help a bit for this. So the neighbor could get in trouble for some of this too. And what he just called off, them crimes, I mean, he sounded to me like that he knew what he was charged with already. So with him leaking some stuff out, you know, people could come on here and try to tell me that Daniel or any of them are not locked up at the moment. But, the only way to prove it to me that they are not being investigated, interrogated, and behind bars, well, send me proof. Why do you think they can't send proof that the kids are fine? It don't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. I'm telling you, if it had not been for them hikers, more than likely, Daniel and them would have got away with murder. But on the other hand, we know how dead set Numbnuts was on the money. Remember? He was all about the money, $150,000. Now, at some time or another, them children was moved to that bank side, and he was the one that was going to give it some time and say, I found them, so he could get the money. Well, that's where him and Jack had a falling out. I mean, him and Daniel had a falling out. Because I bet Daniel went back to the spot and the kids was not there. We talked about that about a week or so ago. And now, being found, but how much was found, kind of thing. So, he didn't get to turn his apple into a pie. So it very, very much could be that he's up to jailhouse. I mean, and y'all said that there's no uh, uh, my mind's going blank again. No, I hate when that's what that medicine's supposed to be for, to help my memory. I ain't doing it. Uh, there ain't no bond on a murder case. Now, if Numbnuts is only getting charged for them that he called off, then that's not murder for him. But it's still got a pretty long sentence, because that would be tampering with a corpse, uh, not counting knowing everything about it and keeping everything hid, and now trying to keep everything hid from the public through phones, computers, whatever they've had. Just shows just that much more how he wanted that money and what he would do to get it. So yeah, next time somebody wants to come in here and try to tell me somebody's not locked up, show me the proof. If you can't show no proof, don't come in here running your mouth, because you'll get blocked.
What time do they leave the house on Wednesdays? Do they always go to the same park after church? Is there anyone else who ever picks them up from school? Those questions didn't raise red flags then, but now, with the benefit of hindsight and evidence, they resemble something closer to pre-operational surveillance. Even more unsettling, Getty's never published that supposed podcast episode. In fact, there's no evidence it was ever real. Investigators also discovered deleted WhatsApp messages, partially recovered through cloud backups, that show Getty's referencing blind spots near a local hiking trail and quiet times when the kids were usually alone. This wasn't just morbid curiosity. It was premeditated behavior. A timeline
Premeditated. That's right. Premeditated. Y'all just heard that. Premeditated. Mm.
constructed by it.
Yeah, if they're blocked from the channel, they can't come back on unless they try to set up a new email.
RCMP suggests Getty's began these interactions nearly 26 days before the children disappeared. At
26 days. So yeah, they've been planning this thing out, and I think that she probably didn't think that it would really go that way, and she probably, when she snapped and did what she did to Jack in the bathroom, I believe she thought that she did. But then, like I said, when they were getting put in the vehicle, that was the screaming and hollering and everything that Daniel's mom heard. And then Malaya wanted out the vehicle so they could go get rid of the evidence, he said. Mm-hmm. Then Lily plainly said, They all sat around and figured out planned it out, how to get rid of the evidence. And what pissed people off is I got all that in a 4.5 day period. And they still ain't figured out how to take their thumb out of their butt yet. Over half of them or more.
At least 9 different messages centered on the kids' routines. He knew where they liked to play, what path they took home from school, and most alarmingly, when they were least supervised. RCMP cybercrime units believe this level of planning indicates more than just interest. It points to intent. The woman who unknowingly gave him that information is now cooperating with law enforcement, visibly shaken by the realization. In a sworn statement, she said, "If I had known what he was doing, I never would have answered a single question." Now, prosecutors are building a case not just around obstruction, but around predatory behavior.
If she knew what he was doing, she would have never said nothing. Where does that make you fit to be a decent human at? Don't think so.
Behavior, because Geddes didn't just stumble into the Sullivan case. He appears to have walked straight toward it with a plan. The final piece, an encrypted voice message recovered by RCMP forensics, 42 seconds long, buried deep in a backup folder from an app Geddes had wiped clean. The file had no label, no timestamp metadata, but its contents left no doubt. It begins with static, then a pause. A man's voice, measured, unemotional, speaks clearly. He references Lily and Jack by name. Then the chilling line. Once they're gone, it gets quiet, too quiet. No fear, no hesitation, just a disturbing calmness, like someone documenting a thought, not confessing to a crime. RCMP audio analysts confirmed the voice belonged to Geddes. Forensic audio enhancement removed background interference and revealed more. A faint beat pattern consistent with GPS. Tracking app running in the background and the sound of a car indicator clicking, suggesting he may have been recording from a parked vehicle. But it wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it.
You know, they had his phone tapped. And he was either talking to Malia's boyfriend or some guy that knew what was going on. Because when we listened to that playback where I kept stopping it, was something that I caught too that I didn't catch in the beginning. He said it worried me when we had to take that polygraph test because of the 4 or 5 I've already killed.
Oh God.
That is confession. Now, whoever the fella is, I don't know. And, you could hear Durwood say, "Yeah, me too." Like it scared him too. But, there've been too many confessions for them not to already have these people in custody. I mean, that's why we're not seeing nothing new. And, they'll never see the babies, but they definitely will not ever see Meadow again. I mean, that's over with. You could hear them walking through brush. And like I said, as soon as you start hearing them talk about the polygraph, if you listen really close, that's when he'll say it. It scared me because of the 4 or 5 I've already killed. Plain as day.
Experts in behavioral linguistics describe the tone as deliberately dissociative, language often used by individuals attempting to emotionally detach from an act they've already committed or are preparing to commit. The context was undeniable. What is the RCMP hiding from us? Just 7 minutes ago, without a press release, without a briefing, they quietly filed a new warrant. And now, one man, Darren Geddes, is no
Now, this is 21 hours ago
longer just a loud voice online. He's at the
when it was uploaded. Now, I don't know when it really took place. We never really know.
center of what could become the most shocking arrest in Canadian history. This isn't speculation anymore. It's escalation. Warning, hit subscribe now to stay locked in as this story explodes. You won't want to miss what happens next. Trail camera footage from Melissa Scott's remote property might be the single piece of evidence that cracks this case wide open. Weeks ago, Scott mentioned to a local volunteer that her cameras, motion triggered infrared, and recording 24/7, might have picked up something unusual near the edge of her land. She hadn't reviewed it all, but something didn't sit right. That tip eventually reached investigators. Quietly, the RCMP moved. They didn't just ask for a clip, they requested everything. Days of raw, unedited footage spanning before, during, and after night Lily and Jack disappeared. What they found hasn't been made public, but internally, the tone shifted. One officer described the footage as unignorable. Another said it confirmed what some had feared. The children weren't alone near those woods. No press conference, no press release. Instead, an emergency meeting behind closed doors. A judge signed a new search and seizure warrant. No headlines followed, but something monumental had changed. The team watching Geddes, formerly one of dozens of persons of interest, has now pivoted. Surveillance intensified, movements logged, patterns cross-referenced. Melissa Scott's trail cameras might have captured more than just wildlife that night. And now, inside RCMP's top investigative unit, officers are preparing, not for another interview, not for another tip line update, but for a charge. Formal.
And that's plainly what we're sitting here talking about. Getting the charges. Uh, you know, okay, we know. We know without a shadow of a doubt because the children said so. Even the children's loved ones said so. When was first moved, he didn't use his own vehicle. It was one of her friends. Tell her to subscribe to my channel. So they have brought up charges on numbnuts. They couldn't tell that unless they had the person in custody, because that'd be a dead giveaway and make them want to run. You see what I'm saying? They're not going to put out something to the public ahead of time and cause them more headache to try to find them. They have to be in custody before anything can be put out publicly. I don't understand what people don't understand about that. They have, Bernice, and thank you for being here. They have the majority of it. Animals and things like that been involved. I'm sure, and it's just taking a while. But now that they're throwing these charges for their nut, you know good and doggone well that it was true then about Daniel. Because we have not seen no more interviews. We've not seen hide nor hair of neither one of them. And if they were out, even if they were at a store or anywhere, someone would have had a photo of it and said, "Okay, he was here. This one was here. We seen her there." Trying to at least help out some which way, but none. Nobody's getting nothing. No new footage. Okay, so the one that said that their nuts and Daniel have not been uh, brought to the jailhouse and said that I shouldn't be lying like that. Well, she goes on the other foot there, sis. Because let me tell you something. They are all going to have a charge of something. They that RCMP has something so crucial that they're keeping it from the public right now. So when this thing comes out, I mean, yeah, we'll hear about their charges and whatnot, like we just their note. But they will not anything out to the public of this until they are ready to go to trial. Uh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I can't stop thinking of them. I've tried and tried and tried and tried and tried. Good Lord just won't let me let it go. Um, but now there was no sense in coming in here uh, telling me that I had no right to say that I shouldn't be telling uh, stuff like that. You know, it ain't me. Can you not hear what they're saying? I just sometimes repeat what they say. And especially when talking to the children, I repeat what they say. But they have got something so crucial that they're only going to use during court that the public is going to know nothing about. And yes, Bernice, thank you for being here. If you like my kind of content, hit that subscribe button. But that should just be common sense. The whole moral and everything. They're going to try to hold on to their words, but they done forgot what they said, and they're crossing themselves up. So when they go to court, one day they're going to say this, and then the next time they're back up, they're going to say that, and they're going to see, just like we did, just like it, how they forget what line they want to say. There ain't nobody going to feel for them people. That's right. So, yeah, don't come at me for stuff. And look, hey, just because you can't do what I can do, don't mean you need to be jealous neither. One of these days, you might want to hear from a loved one. So I would not come in here and go that route if I was you.
Public, unavoidable. Getty's, once live streaming his theories from the comfort of his home, is now the quiet center of RCMP's most active file. And though nothing is official, yet every signal coming from within points to one thing. They're ready. And the moment the footage is processed and confirmed, Darren Geddes may no longer be a man of interest. He may be a man in custody. Darren Geddes is...
See, they're even though that, well, even though that they say that he may end up in custody, they're just swapping the words around. They couldn't say this coming from RCMP if they didn't already have him at least booked in. So you people can come here and tell me that he is not in custody, because he is. They use that phrase right there so it wouldn't shake up the next person so much. Yeah, right. Now we might be getting somewhere here.
The suspect pulled out of thin air. For years, he's operated on the fringes, calling himself a truth seeker, posting videos full of speculation, inserting himself into local tragedies, and stirring the pot on the guise of raising awareness. Loud, erratic, always online, always watching. And until recently, the RCMP dismissed him as just another chaotic voice in the digital storm. But now, that persona is disintegrating behind closed doors, and fast. According to internal sources, our CMP intelligence teams have begun reclassifying Geddes' role in the investigation. No longer a harmless agitator, no longer just online. He's being actively linked to possible obstruction of justice.
So, yeah, they're getting caught up in their own game. With that phone call, like I said, that confirms that, they about the having to take the polygraph, and said they should have left Meadow so it could have been done the same way. All that was caught on his phone. His phone was tapped, but whoever he was talking to is already took out at least 4 to 5 lives. Now, you can't say that phone calls is not proof enough to hold somebody. So with him getting his panties in a wad, when he found out that, okay, hey, I just spilled the beans, he wanted to back out, right? So, well, he backed out. He went under the radar, didn't hear nothing about him. Well, somebody told where he is at, because now he's charged with these crimes. So, see, if any one of them was to be out in public anywhere, somebody would take photos and turn it into the police stations. So again, don't come in here and tell me a bunch of junk. Like I said, we'd have to do it anytime after the 3rd. something like that. And most of them, her day off is like a day in the middle of the week somewhere.
Like it is now.
Deliberately feeding false leads, derailing timelines, contacting witnesses without legal cause, and perhaps most damning of all, tampering with key public narratives. It didn't stop at videos. Investigators believe Geddes may have knowingly interfered with ongoing searches by suggesting altered GPS coordinates, hosting live streams that misdirected volunteers, and even impersonating anonymous tipsters to muddy the waters. This isn't.
What did I just say? What did I just say? All they would have to do is use what's that we use?
What?
The text now thing.
Mm-hmm.
All you'd have to do is go in there each time and just make you up another thing and call and give in these tips and just keep it rolling for a while till he thinks it's long enough. And then that's when he went and the kids was moved again. And then say he could have called and said, hey, I found them. But he didn't have time to do that. Some hikers done found what he had done with them. So, good. Okay. Yeah, just listen to what the kids have to say and you know, they tell it straight up, you know. Yeah. I wish for one time the world, the public, before they start judging somebody or taking things for granted and being jealous about things, take a minute to just sit back and listen. See what he has figured out. See what he's hearing. And let the truth be known by its own source. Because whoever that was, I don't even remember the name now. Some numbnut. I know who she is, but I don't know the name that was piled up there. But you just don't judge a book by its cover, okay?
Just unethical. It's illegal. And while Geddes was feeding his audience theories, the RCMP were quietly feeding his digital footprint to analysts. Every comment, every deleted post, every IP address tied to forum threads meant to confuse. He's been leaving breadcrumbs, and law enforcement has been collecting them piece by piece. No one's pretending it's noise anymore. Behind the scenes, often.
And you heard him all ago talk about having to go and get that other search warrant to go back in that trailer and that camper. So yeah, they did. They did get DNA. I don't know. Something about that's my cousin's name. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Officers are preparing documents for charges that go beyond speculation. This includes obstruction, public mischief, and potentially conspiracy to interfere with a criminal investigation. Geddes may have thought his internet persona gave him cover, but in the eyes of the law, it may now be considered a mask for manipulation. The man who once claimed to be the loudest voice for truth may soon be forced to speak under oath. It started with one anonymous email, flagged by the RCMP Cybercrime Unit, just spiritorial manifesto. You missed something, attached for files. Precise, raw, inside. A folder the sender claimed was pulled directly from Darren Geddes' own devices. Among the contents, video clips, longer, unedited versions of his live stream monologues, GPS logs placing him in restricted areas near the Sullivan cottage, metadata showing file deletions, midnight movement, and location pings that were previously unaccounted for. But one line in particular changed everything. If people believe I saw them that night, Geddes is heard saying they'll stop looking elsewhere. That sentence wasn't spoken publicly. It wasn't in any of his known videos. It was buried deep in an unshared recording.
Yes.
One the RCMP never had access to until that email arrived. And it sent a jolt through every level of the command chain.
That wasn't only a email, unless they sent that call through email where they could listen to that call that way. Maybe send an email so they could hear what was tapped. But yes, he admits it. He admitted, whoever it was there, admitted that he done took out 4 or 5 people. And then Numbnut said that, yeah, I stepped too far too. I've said too much. I mean, they did it to themselves. He was trying to play the law. He was trying to play Daniel. He was trying to play Malaya and Daniel's mom. I mean, he was trying to get in anywhere he possibly could and failed every time. Yeah. Well, see, that, you know, you can hear it plain as day. Yeah, they'll flip on one another because one of them will say one thing, one another. Man, they ain't gonna believe nothing none of them gonna say. And the only way that they're gonna get them to tell the truth, the only way would be to let them hear children's voices saying what they have done to them. If they would play some of these recordings right here while they're in an interrogation room or locked in a cell and hearing what these children have to say, could you imagine? I wouldn't even want to imagine. But they didn't nobody twist their arms to do this mess. They wanted money, drugs, wanted more and more and more.
They kept getting greedy with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
More than likely. Well, I mean, Durwood, he's done told on himself. I mean, and Daniel, admitted a lot of stuff too. Said that we all sat down and figured out what to do with the evidence. He said it. We sit right here and listen to it. Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna go away. It won't be long, and they'll have every one of them in custody, if not already. Like I said, they won't put too much out to the public until time for court, or when they get court date set, then they'll put it out to the public. Because their head's not screwed on. You got fear. You're anxious. Like Malaya's situation, I believe if she wouldn't have played along, they would end up beating her to death. But now that's no excuse. She could have reported it and came to the police and let them protect her. But she didn't. She went right along with all of it, just like Daniel's mama did. Well, Now they're going to have to be, well, especially Daniel's mama. That's where she needs to be right off the top, because she's been known to, and the kids have said it, that she's slapped them around and kicked them and stuff too. And but she's off. Too many bolts are loose, you know. So his mom don't need to be in a jailhouse. She needs to be in a insane asylum. Yeah, you're right. Me too. Me too. People take drugs, money over their children. Some people take other people over their own children. No, no way. Yeah, yeah, both of them within a week apart. Well, nearly a week. Well, half a week from Monday to Wednesday evening. So 3 days, almost 4.
Within hours, the case was escalated. A quiet directive was issued from RCMP headquarters in Ottawa. This wasn't just a local investigation anymore. A multi province task force was activated, bringing in cyber forensics, behavioral analysis teams, and federal warrant specialists. Because if this data was legitimate, and early analysis confirmed it, likely was, then Darren Geddes wasn't just a nuisance. He was now a person of significant interest, potentially holding back the very truth everyone's been searching for. They've traced the source of the email. It came from a disposable relay network, but experts believe it originated from someone close to Geddes, maybe a former collaborator, maybe a guilty conscience. Whoever it was, they didn't want credit. They wanted investigators to see what had been missed, and what was missed might just change everything. Here's a longer, more immersive version of that section, with tension and pacing consistent with your true crime, documentary style.
They will.
Publicly, Darren Geddes insisted he was out of province the night Lily and Jack disappeared, an airtight alibi, he claimed. He even referenced supposed travel plans on live streams, hinting at a distant cabin, a digital detox, even posting an old photo to bolster the illusion. But the RCMP wasn't buying it. Cell tower data told a different story. Forensic analysis from telecom records placed Geddes just 20 minutes from the Sullivan property.
Just 20 minutes from their property. And that's about how far the kids was away. You know, again, I'm gonna say this as nicely as I possibly can, and the ones that can't wait to just jump on here and make a slur comment, listen for just a minute before you act stupid. I'm here to give these children, all children, teens and adults, a voice. That's it. As far as the paranormal side goes. And yeah, sometimes they can, if they're old enough, they can tell us a roundabout right where they're at. But just because you can't find it where it says it on YouTube or Google, don't mean that I don't have my own ways of finding out things. I am no medium or psychic. I was born a sensitive. And that's it. And the things that you can't find through the internet is when you need to shut your mouth, open your ears, and let these children talk. And they will tell you everything you need to know. Now, if you would have given me time to explain that the other day, we wouldn't have had this problem. I will believe a child before I believe its own mom or dad or grandparents or whatever. All these missing teens and children and adults. When I say adults, I mean it. There's people out there that mistreat adults just as much as they do the teens and children. There's a lot of old folk that just can't take care for themselves, and they're left alone. Oh, I was trying to do that sitting thing again. There you go. But yeah. Well, I just don't want people to get me wrong. And yeah, I may not know how to word things perfectly sometimes, or 99.9% of the time, but I know what I'm talking about. I may just say it in a different way or something. I don't know, but I know that authorities have went and gotten these children their clothes that were scattered amongst the dirt and leaves and whatnot. Thank you, Paula. That touches here. And I do. If I cannot give 110%, I will not do it. Yeah, there. I sit outside. Um, I believe they were one place, and then Daniel went back and checked, and they wasn't there. I believe that Numbnuts moved them so he would know the location so he could try to get the money. But now, all these charges that they've talked about right here don't mean that's the only charges that they're going to get. Because we ain't even went to court yet. So when this thing goes to court, man, like I said, if anybody even hears wind of a court date set for anything, a hearing or whatever, because they're going to have to do it. I mean, there's no way that they can not do it. They can't just lock them up and let that go like that. They said that they were no bond for murder. Now, if say anyone that did not physically take these children's lives can be fooled, because tampering with a corpse can hold just as much credibility as just the murder itself, and it would be premeditated. He said it right there. He said it out of his own mouth while we were sitting here. It was all premeditated. You know, there's another confession. What? How many? That made 10 confessions. 10. Sitting right here, right now. So, you know, yeah, when this thing goes to court, you'll probably have to pay for seats to go to court there and watch it. That's how crazy it's going to be. Front row, probably $100 or more. And I didn't know they did that either. But some places, especially if it's a celebrity or something, yeah. But you know, when we last with Jack and Lily, they didn't speak as much. Now, 2 or 3 days ago, I mean, it was just right on the money, and she seemed happy, and she said, "Now we're free." To me, that's heartbreaking right there, because to find relief in death when you couldn't be loved here, it's a shame. But the ones that don't want to believe, and you know, none of us wanted to ever know that these children actually had lost their lives. Nobody wants to ever hear nothing such as that. But when the children speak here at JSV, we do not turn a deaf ear. So before judging us or judging me, come in here and listen for yourself. And this is as nice as I can say it. And it'll be the last time I say it. I love y'all, and I will see you at a while. You get off at 9, right? I'll see y'all sometime this evening, or either around probably 10:30 tonight. Uh, Depends on. I noticed it was spinning up here a couple times, and it's been clouding up and thundering a little bit out there. So I don't know. Uh, if I ain't got nothing else to do after a while, I'll come back on. But if not, when she gets off, we'll be on. I love y'all, and just keep an eye on your devices. Love every one of you. Love you too, honey.